Welcome to Solutions, when men come out of the shadows to testify, giving tips in manhood, honor the codes of integrity, and give out real solutions for soul survival. Today, we have on the show a producer, a musician, an up-and-coming media personality, knowing and praising knowledge and giving you entrepreneurship information, a soon graduate of Berklee College in 2021, and an EP of the New Frame of Mind and Black Mentality. Y'all know him. He goes by D.Rim, Mr. D Info, none other than Deryck Rimson. What's going on, D?
What's going on, my brother? How are you, man?
I'm good, man. I'm happy you came in today to drop these gems.
Well, definitely, man. I'm gonna try my best, man. Try my best to answer every question.
Hey, man, as long as you dropping them gems and we can pick them up and take them to the bank and cash in, life is
Yes,
grand.
sir. Most definitely.
Ready to get this thing started.
Yes, sir.
What person did you meet or see that gave you the drive towards the man you are today? Who or what defined you?
God first and foremost, but I would say my dad. My dad was the very first person that I literally looked up to from childhood to current, because he basically taught me how to be professional, how to be punctual. You know, he's a pastor, but he also ran a corporation. So he taught me how to handle work in a corporate setting, the importance of being on time, how to dress apart, how to, me wearing suits and me loving how to dress up and how to treat women. I got it all from my dad. That's the very first person, how I was raised, my mannerism, especially growing up in his era, it transferred to how chivalry is not dead at all, because I learned it from my dad. So he was the first person to teach me how to treat people, how to talk to people, how to basically be a wonderful business person, have business sense, and also the first person to teach me faith, not fear, not self-doubt. That was the first person. I was in tune when I would go to Bible study because it came from his voice. So that's what taught me how to be a faith believer, not a self-doubter in most cases.
Man, you just said a mouthful. I just want to stay right here for one moment. Those lessons and gems he gave you on how to dress and how to play the game where you're playing it at. Can you give us a moment where you realized he was teaching you a lesson? He was like, oh, you was teaching me this. Oh, you taught me this.
There was one, it's funny you said that. I remember we was in his leadership conference, and this was recently too. This is like maybe 3 years ago. It was a little bit while ago, but 3 years ago, he was teaching us the right suits to wear to a business conference. And he was saying, you have to understand the difference between a black suit, a blue suit, and not wear, don't show up to a meeting in a white suit type of thing. But it wasn't like he was judging. It was kind of like when you go to like a corporate meeting, you have to look very professional. Then he taught me about timing because, I have a label, Rhythm Avenew Entertainment, and my mom is one of my first artists. And we were in a situation a couple of times because my dad was used to musicians coming late to rehearsals, coming late on Sundays, coming 25, 30 minutes late. And one time he fired some of his musicians one time because they just kept coming late. And I didn't understand it at first. I'm like, well, Dad, you didn't have to. He's like, no, son, I'm trying to teach you something, because when you have a real business meeting, or when you have a deadline, or when you're doing a real show and people come late, that could be a bad look on you. And then when I started working at the skating rink and I started doing shows myself, I realized when I came late, I looked like the bad guy, because people were looking at me like, why are you late? Come on time. And then I did the same thing with my mom. Musicians would come late to sound check, and it was like, okay, I get what my dad was saying. I was like, I remember when you was like, yeah, you can't come late. So now I make sure I'm at every studio session 1 hour before time. I come to sound check 30 minutes before sound check even starts. Because to professionals, it's like, yo, I really want to work with this dude, because I tell people talent fails to work hard. And there's a lot of talented people, but that professionalism, it goes out. It's like it goes out the window when you don't focus on being punctual, being on time, showing up to meetings, getting the lobby calls. That was one important lesson that I learned.
Man, you said a mouthful about professionalism in this business that we're in, especially the music business, where most people think showing up late is cool. So when you run into professionalism, you make people up their game, but initially they don't realize that they can't be as lackadaisical as they usually are. So my hats off to your dad for teaching you that, because I've always showed up early for things, and I take show day, media day very seriously, more than most people. And like you said, sometimes my musician friends out there could be a little bit, hey, it's cool, it's cool, it's all right. No, it's not.
Yeah, yeah, it's not. Yeah, yeah, you're
Do
right.
you have
It's
a
not.
vision board?
Job visual. Oh yes, I have. I have a lot of them. I have a lot of vision boards. I have one on my phone. I have one on my iPad, and I have boxes of vision in my boxes when I moved out here to Nevada. So I still carry them with
Wait,
me.
wait. Right there. You have boxes of vision. Please break that down.
Boxes meaning I've been writing my own visions. Like I said, this goes back to my dad because he taught me faith and vision. So like he would teach me, one of the scriptures is, write down a vision and make it plain. And for you to, if you have a dream, is one thing to dream it, but then it's another thing to write it down. So he will always teach me, write stuff down. Like if you want to get something accomplished, write it down. And when I went to basketball camp, I met a lady named Lisa Leslie. She's an Olympic gold medalist. And she used to always say, write down your goals, write down what you want to achieve. And I wrote down everything I want to achieve. But at my age, we like stuff that's visual and we like pictures, more than words. So then that's when I started taking pictures from Google. And I was a weirdo, man. Like I would go to like Office Max and Office Depot and I would like print out certain things before they said you couldn't print out pictures from Google. But at the time I would go print out houses and where I want to live, the type of woman that I want to be with, or the how much money I wanted at a certain age, or where I want to, what kind of business I wanted. So, and then it got so bad to the point where it was not bad, but I would write checks to myself. Like I have checks on my vision board, like how much money that I want to give to my dad or my mom, or, how much, I'm getting from a record label for royalties. And I would put it under my bed, under my pillow. And I put it all in the box. And then I would look at houses. I'll print out houses and put it in the box. And I took those same pictures and I put them in my phone. So every morning when I wake up and I look at my phone, the first thing you see is my vision board. So I have so much vision, like breaking down from the time I started doing it when I was 17. And the crazy thing is with a vision board, at 17, 18, the more you write it down, you realize you're checking stuff off. And you don't even realize it, but you're like, wait a minute. Like, I remember I said I want to do this and I actually did it already. And then you realize, your plans are a little bit too small. So that's why I have boxes and boxes of vision, because some vision that I've wrote down is like I've accomplished it. So I try to write more and more and more all the time.
Well, please give me an apex goal that you did achieve, and that also give me one that you're currently chasing.
I would say one bizarre one. I wrote down when I was, even before I was 16, I actually wrote down vision when I was younger, but when I was 8 years old, I wrote down this crazy vision that I wanted to meet Michael Jordan. And my family never, you got to keep in mind, people are accustomed to their own environment. So a lot of people, they've never met celebrities before, ever. The biggest celebrity that they met was, either people from church or, people from their job that would come in. But saying Michael Jordan, and you got to keep in mind, this was back in 97, 98, 99. Michael Jordan was the biggest like person, not just athlete, like American icon. Michael didn't even meet people around that time. So for you to say, I'm gonna meet Michael Jordan, that was like, you're really in fantasy world. So people would tell me like, man, be quiet, get out of here. You ain't going. And I wrote it down. And 2 years later, I was in front of Michael Jordan at his camp. It was like, when you write stuff down, things actually happen. Now, God's not a genie in a lamp at all, but just when you believe and you keep bugging people about it, and you write it down, you'd be so surprised. So from that, I took that and then I applied that to everything else that I did. I kept saying, I want to start a record label, or, and then I wrote that down and now I have a label. And then right now I'm saying things like I want to do a TV network, and I want to do a partnership with Warner and Fox. That's like my long-term goal. And I want to own a basketball team. And those are like really what I've been trying to work on. But right now at 29, I'm talking about winning more Grammys than Kanye West. I say that all the time to my family. Like, I'm gonna win more Grammys than Kanye. I'm gonna win more Grammys than Quincy Jones. And they be looking at me like, dude, you're really crazy. But I actually have it written down. And not saying that I'm at that point yet, but I'm seeing God work in a way where I'm so close because of the creativity, the music that's coming out, the music that I'm putting out, the networks that I've been making, meeting you and meeting a lot of producers, like going to conferences. It's like I see God is putting me in areas where I'm getting closer to that goal because I wrote it down and I'm looking at it every single morning.
Man, you're not a weirdo, man. You're manifesting the God in you. You're talking to the universe. You're doing everything that this show wants to let everybody know they can do. And you just said things and dropped gems that I hope and I pray that people heard what you said about manifesting, bugging people, because this is what you need for your energy to shine.
Yes, most definitely.
Along that road of all these goals and all these visions, what did you sacrifice?
I sacrifice friends, family time. Like right now, like it was funny. I was talking to my girl about how I don't really have a social life, and I try my best to have a social life, but because I was so focused on my dream, it took away from having to go out, having to just put down the music. Like I work on music constantly. If I'm not doing music, I'm like I said, I'm writing down what I want to achieve. And as a creative, there's no off switch. Like there's no such thing as off. Like it can be 3:00 in the morning and God can give you an idea to write something and you get up out the bed and you write. Like there's no, okay, I gotta go to sleep at 10:00. Like my girl would tell me all the time, like Mount Everest wasn't built in one day. She would throw that out there, but then it's like, as a creative, we be trying to build that in like literally in 24 hours if we have to. Like we would lose sleep until it's finalized. So because of my work ethic, I've sacrificed friendships. I've sacrificed going out a lot. I had to watch. It's kind of like when you're a little kid and you're on punishment, or you're in school and you're watching everybody at recess and you're looking from the window and you can't go outside and play because you got to do work. Like that's really how it feels. That's part of the sacrifice, but that's part of, God giving you a gift. Are you willing to put the work in, or are you going to do it when it's convenient? And I had to sacrifice, doing things like, going bowling and things like that. And then it will always be presented to me. And then, you got to keep in mind, man, I'm in college too. Like that's the first thing people say when you go to school. Like you get to go to parties, you get to meet people and make friends. And I mean, I have yet to do that all the time. Like right now I'm in Vegas and, this one of the, like the hot spots for socializing and hanging out and going out all the time. And me, it's just like, no, I'd rather be at the house and make music all day. And people are like, yo, you're so not a fun person. But it's like, I rather, like,
Yeah.
and like Dame Dash said in the video, like, I rather be okay with not paying my kids' bills now, but I rather be happy when I got to pay my grandkids' bills later. Like it's a marathon, not a sprint. So I'm learning how to trust the process. And sometimes that process means that, you might got to be okay with, saying no. You got to be okay with not showing up to weddings and birthday parties. And sometimes you might forget people's birthdays because you're so focused,
When you have tunnel vision, if people are not in that hallway with you, it's because they're not a part of the vision. They're not a part of the journey. They're not the person you're supposed to meet while you're walking that way. Now it's good to stop and peek your head out the vision and say, hey, how you doing? You all right? But the person you say, hey, how you doing to, if they're your friend, they're going to say, man, stick your head back in that tunnel and keep going forward. You got something to do. Those
That's
are the
right.
friends that see that, I'm not even going to call him because I know he making music right now. Matter of fact, let me see if he hungry. Stop by, bring him some food before we dip out. Those are your friends, the ones who understand your plight and keep you as a friend.
Yeah.
And they make adjustments towards your purpose.
I mean, and yeah, you're right. And, and you said something too about tunnel vision, because it's very rare. You don't have. I'm not saying everybody's like this, but it's very rare how many actual real friends are actually gonna look at you and say, you know what, I know what you're doing. So this is not your lifestyle. I'd rather have you stay in the studio. Like it's a scene in the movie Notorious where I think D-Rock, Big's best friend, he believed in him so much that he was willing to go to jail. Like, dude, like you about to change the world. Like, I don't want you going down with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so rare to have friends like that actually believe in you so much where they know, nah, dude, this ain't your lifestyle. Like, nah, man. Like, no, don't go out with us today. Like, you got a record to finish. Like, but it's like now it's like people don't believe in your dreams like that, where it's like they're gonna be willing to say, like, dude, work on music. You come out with us anytime. But now it's like, dude, just take a break, man. You need to have fun. Take a break. Like, and you got to be able to tell people, like, look, man, like I can't. That's
somewhere along the lines you went from dreaming to escaping, and that's the problem.
Yeah,
we went from dreaming where you dream of your reality, where you dream, you wake up and go get it, to escaping your reality.
Yep.
So there's more people escaping than there are people dreaming and going and putting action. And what you said, those things come at a very high price and a high point. You want to get yourself all the way up. But talk to me about your lowest moment. And and this is not just to get all in your business. This is for the people out there that say, you know what, I was dealing with that too. But I just don't want to know your lowest moment. I would like to know how you got up. This is that gem. It's like, okay, this is how I got up from this because I needed to, or we had to, or you're still currently going through.
Well, as I said before, I am a pastor's son. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot that goes with that mentally. And this is not to bash the church, because if it wasn't for church, I probably wouldn't be the man I am today. But it was a lot of mental fight that I had to put up with, like, watching my dad get talked to any kind of way, being disrespected, people telling me, like, that you're not good enough. And as a kid in high school, I had teachers tell my parents that, I had ADHD, I had mental problems, that I need to, I had to go to special ed. Like, my parents would literally go to the school and my principal would actually say this to their face. And that affected me as a kid, and then anxiety started to pick up. I started to have a little bit of insecurity because of it. But because of sports and because of music, I picked myself up in a way. And I think that's how I told my mom, I was like, that's why I got attached to headphones. Because it was like you said earlier about escapism. When I had headphones in my ear, it was like nobody could tell me anything. You could literally say whatever to me, but I had headphones in my ear. I knew music at some point that was going to block out every negative thing that was ever said about me, said about my family, and then there was days even in the music part, like certain musicians that I went to network with, you kept hearing that phrase, well, you're not ready yet because you're too young. It was kind of like that, the disrespect of, okay, should I say I am old enough to play with you, or I'm old enough to, I'm better than you type of thing, kind of like the Michael Jordan take it personal. It's like, should I take it personal or should I not take it personal? Because some people say, like, don't take it personal, but it's like, it's kind of hard to not take stuff personal when you're being disrespectful. Like, when your principals are constantly telling your parents that your son has mental issues and he's too hyper and he needs to be in special ed, like, that can really damage, especially a Black man. Like, that's damaging, to tell a Black man that you got mental health issues. You know how many Black people have suffered with that growing up, to hear negative all the time? And even though it's not as traumatic, it's not really as catastrophic as other people's problems, but I tell people, mentally, you wrestle with that as a kid and you really believe that. You believe, like, well, maybe I do have mental issues. Maybe I do have ADHD, and I probably did have ADHD growing up, but I'm like, just to hear negative seeds all the time, You know, for you to tell people like I'm gonna be a millionaire and people just shoot down your dream instantly. You know, like I said, I was a pastor's son, so people said like, no, you're not gonna be no musician. Like, you're gonna be a pastor, just like your dad. And that was discouraging for me. It was like, you know, like you said, vision. I am writing down all this vision, believing in myself, and then you get hit with negative all the time. Like, that could really mess with you. And it messed with me for quite some time until I got maybe 23. And that was the first time I said, you know what, F it. Like, ain't nobody gonna stop what I really want to do in life. It's my life. And if you don't like it, then there's the door, you know? I ain't got no problem telling you. You know, my mom was like, you gotta be careful how you say things. I'm like, no, I don't. Everybody know I love my dad, but I'm not gonna sit here and sugarcoat my dreams or sugarcoat how I feel about life just because, you know, my dad's a pastor and a bishop. Like, no, I got my own life just like he got his own life, just like you got your own life, you know? And because of that, I've gotten stronger mentally. Like, I've learned how to listen to my gut feeling. And from there on out, I've been able to come out of those low points. Because when you're 20, that's, you know, as you're learning, suicide rate is high for people my age, because they're fighting with a mental struggle with people talking down to them, not believing in them, not listening, you know. So from that, man, I'm able to, you know, bounce out of that.
Man, that's an amazing story. I don't believe in ADHD. I just believe in certain kids have more ambition and more energy than most, and I
Yeah,
think they want everyone to be on one set level base when they go to a school. And sometimes you meet special children who need more attention because they just have more light. That is my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. And
that's true.
I don't believe in ADHD, brother. So I'm happy that you made it through that. I'm happy that energy, you found a place to channel that energy. That's all they needed to do for you. And
Right.
you found your headphones, and then you found your sound, and then you found your musicianship, and you found your purpose after you found yourself a channel. It's all
Yeah.
about channeling that energy. All of us need to channel energy. Some of our energy comes out physically, and some of our energy comes out tranquil, but it's all a channel that needs to be tuned up, and all goes back to having a vision, right?
Yes, most definitely.
Tell me how important it is to leave where you're from to develop yourself to where you're going. You said you met Michael Jordan at a camp. That means you left home to develop yourself.
Yes. Yes. It, you know, funny thing was when I first moved to California, because my dad always he used to always tell me, man, like, California worked for you. Like, it's like you always enjoyed it. And I always tell him, I was like, the main thing I enjoyed about California was leaving home and going to Santa Barbara every summer, because that was my time. And then I was like you said, I actually found myself mentally. I knew that I really had the potential to be great because I was around greatness. Like, I felt like when I was at school, I didn't really, you know, and it's not to sound like it's braggadocious, but it's like when you are around great people, you don't want to go like beneath that.
Mm-hmm.
So like when you're around greatness and then you gotta go back to school and you gotta deal with, you know, people doing what they do, you know, like the conversations about girls. And even though it was dope to talk about girls, but everything was about, you know, stuff that just didn't mean nothing. Like we're talking about, like, you know, things that's not like on the conversation that I had with Michael Jordan, where it's on a whole nother scale. You
Mm-hmm.
know, how to be the greatest player of all time, or how to be the greatest musician of all time, or be great at what you're great at. But then you go to school and then people are laughing at you just because you tuck your shirt in. It's like, okay, I could have went to camp a little bit longer. So, you know, it was like 10 days. So every year I would look forward to just those 10 days. Like, it would be like October and I'd be like, I can't wait for August to get here. I'd be waiting and counting up the days for August to get here. Because every time I went to camp, man, it was like my mind transformed like 360. It was like the way that my thinking was different. Because like they say, like when you're around great people, it would challenge you to be great. And, you know, we all know Michael Jordan, like he has no not like his nonsense level is on 100. Like if you're not trying to be great, then he doesn't want to talk to you. Like you can be a kid Like if you don't if you don't want greatness in yourself, he's not going to deal with you. Like, and some people say like he's an a-hole for that, but like it's just he wants you to push yourself to think bigger, like to think great, not think average. And because I left home every summer and went to camp, like that's why my mind transformed 360. And it wasn't because I wanted to be a ball player. It was just I was around another great individual that, you know, who was the greatest of all time, but his mindset was greatness. So that's how I started thinking. That's why every year I'd be like, yo, I can't wait till August get here. Because it wasn't about me just wanting to play basketball. You know, I loved basketball at the time, but it was really about me being around great people. Because it wasn't just Michael Jordan that would come to the camp. Like I was around Kyle Massey, he was Disney Channel superstar at the time. He would come. A lot of celebrities would come, and it wasn't for me to just take a picture and like let me get your autograph. It was really for me to learn information. Like, and they would give up free game all the time. Like Kyle Massey was teaching me about credit at like 13. Like he would teach me about investing and
Right.
like we're all 15-year-old kids here, like, so I don't really understand what you're talking about, but he's giving free game because he's getting those checks from Disney and he's talking about investing. And oh yeah, I'm not trying to do Disney shows forever because I'm about to invest. And as you see, he's not on TV, but he's making enough money with investments. And but he was telling me that at 15 years old. But when you go to school, it's like you don't have an investing class. Like classes don't teach you credit. They don't teach you, you know, generational wealth. Is, you know, you got algebra 2 and calculus, like, you know, which is cool if you're a mathematician, but like I need to learn how to buy a house. I need to learn how to buy a car. What's the difference between leasing a car and buying it and pre-owned? See, these celebrities at camp, they were teaching me that stuff. Like, oh no, you gotta get a pre-owned car. And I'm like, wow. So that's why I look forward to going every single year. My mind transformed 360
It,
like
it's
crazy, man.
it's special, man. Being in the room with people who are smarter than you, more experienced and more mature than you, just elevates you. And it's not that you were shunning school. I think it was more that you found your people and you
Yeah.
understood that operating at a high level is what you needed. That was your level.
Yeah.
Everybody else level that wasn't their level. And being around someone like Michael Jordan who demands greatness, it it shows you what it takes to be great. I don't think is anything wrong with a person who demands greatness around him only, or you can't be around him. I Yeah, it may have an a-hole quality to it, but the quality of life is different. The pH in the water is different.
Yes.
Talk to me about mentorship and fatherhood. Now we talked about your father already, but I want to talk about mentorship. So I know many people look up to you, got your music label, you focus. I know people want to tune into that quality. So talk to me about that.
Um, well, one thing I've learned was, and I got it from my father, but with mentorship, one thing I've learned in my journey so far is if it doesn't make you happy, then don't do it. You know, I think we've been programmed mentally to to chase trends and to do things that everybody else is doing just because it looks cool and it looks nice. And one thing I learned from my dad, because my dad said this too. He used to always say like, when you were first born, I was dad. When you got older, I became a father, and now that you're grown, I am now a mentor. And I
Mm,
didn't I didn't understand that till I was like, wow, it's true. Because when you're a little kid, and black parents, spankings and whoop you when you're a kid, and when you get to high school, then they gotta reprimand you, and you gotta be in the house at a certain time.
mm.
And when you get older and grown, now it's like whoopings and reprimand doesn't work anymore. Now I gotta mentor you now I gotta give you advice on how to handle life, on how to not get caught up in the wrong situation, how to handle business. Because as I'm learning, real life, even though I love school, I'm in college now, but I've been realizing that real business, school is not going to be able to teach you that. Like when the real business hits you, it's the mentor that's going to tell you, no, you got to watch out for such and such. And professors ain't going to teach you but so much. Sometimes they're kind of they're getting a prepared lesson and they're reading exactly what they need to teach you because that's what they're getting paid to do. But a mentor, they're gonna go deep and tell you, nah, man, like I did that before, don't do this. Because if you do this, then you gonna end up doing that, and then you gonna end up going this route, and this ain't the route you want to go. So then I try to, my experiences on insecurity and, you know, me telling people, because that's the whole base of why I do my vision over sense, is because, like I said earlier, with a vision, it doesn't make sense to anybody. People are not going to understand it. Like, you know, your friends are not going to understand it. Your mom, your dad, your uncle, you know, girlfriend is not going to understand it. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it. You know, I've learned that with a vision, God gave it to you. He didn't give it to nobody else to understand. Because if everybody understood it, then everybody would take your vision and then they'll duplicate it. And then it's like you have nothing to show for it. It's like everybody then took what's yours. You know, God gave it to you. He didn't give it to nobody else. You know, that's what separates Steve Jobs and Walt Disney, you know, Jeff Bezos, you know, Kevin Hart's, you know. That's what separates all these great people from everybody else, because they had a vision on how to do things. Steve Harvey, like the vision of you telling your teacher, I want to be on TV, and your teacher saying like, you're crazy. Don't even come up to me with that.
Because you're stuttering right now.
Yeah, because you're stuttering. And I had a stuttering problem too. So that inspired me. But it just comes from you doing things that you love and being okay with doing things that make you happy. You know, like I said, we're programmed to say, forget happiness, do what's right. You know, forget trying to be happy, forget what you think. Do what you just do the right thing. But sometimes the right thing is not really right for you. You know, and this goes down from career to marriage to who you date, like who you bring home. Because I told my mom, I was like, I'm done dating, trying to impress my family, like bringing the right woman to the cookout just so you can see how fine she is. But if she don't make me happy, then I'm not bringing her home. Like, no, does she make me happy? Like, am I, you know? And I had to look at that from career to dating to personal life to how I make, you know, how I meditate in the morning. Everybody's meditation is different. So whatever makes you happy, that's basically what I push the most, man.
And that's the point of having this show. I'm trying to upgrade the time that we learn this knowledge. Too many times and too often we learn this knowledge in our 20s. This is knowledge we should learn when we're 6 years old. When we're able to comprehend what meditating and what faith is, and with understanding financial literacy at 6, 7, 8. If we can play video games, be on our phones, and do all these other great, immaculate things with technology, we can understand life skills. Which brings me to my next question. Now, this is a new fun question I've added to the show. I was talking amongst a bunch of men. I was talking to the homies, and a question floated around, and sadly, no one had the right answer, so to speak. My question to you, did you ever get a sex talk? Who or what gave you sex education?
Man, be honest with you, man, I had, you know what? I take that back. I was trying to find when all things boiled down, I did not really get the sex talk until I got to my junior year in high school. My dad was the first person that he didn't really give me a sex talk. He would always say things like, dude, I don't care how hard you get, man, wrap it up. I do not care. And I'm like,
that is not a sex talk. Yeah, listen, like, it's no bad answer, because men, we have failed to give our kids a real deep STD, this baby, financial literacy, 18 years of paying for this. If you're not with this woman, like the real, not scare you, but give you the real sex talk. And I hope and I pray that whoever's listening, you start really giving give the real sex talk. Don't give it like, hey boy, better get out there and mop that floor. Like what?
What's that scene in Love Don't Cost a Thing with Nick Cannon and Steve Harvey? That's basically kind of how it is, though. It's like, I think from a parent to a kid, it's like it feels kind of awkward, but I mean, I don't know, but I do feel like we live in a day now where, because we got the internet, so it's like, it's kind of hard, you know, we live in a Google era where you can Google up anything.
Yeah, I know. See, the thing is, you know what it is, but you don't know the responsibility of it.
Exactly.
That's the part.
Yeah.
And I think that's the part we're missing, like the responsibility of it. You can't stop nobody from engaging in their natural emotions in that moment, but they can have knowledge, a little bit more knowledge of self at least. I'm saying as early as 10 years old, because you don't want to introduce those things, because the drawback is you start looking at things in a sexual manner when you start learning about sex. Things don't become so innocent no more.
That's true.
Things become like, wait a minute, that was awkward. If you're around children, if anyone's around children and you see a child look at something and you look at it as sexually explicit and they're just enjoying it for what it really is, that's because your mind is already transforming to the other side.
That's true, man. I'm telling you, I used to hate going to movies with my parents too, because it would just be so awkward. Like it had love scenes in it, and then my parents would just cover my eyes up and stuff like that. So it was never like an actual talk on like, this is what this is why people do it. It was just when I got 16, like my dad was just saying like, look, like if you don't use protection, then you run the risk of having an STD and having babies. And it might be with the wrong woman, and so not when I got 16 though, but at 10, yeah, it was like,
I mean, 10 might be low. 10 might be low, but I think that just going for the apex the way we do, hey man, strap it up.
Yeah.
You don't have no kid, no STD. It's like there's so much more. There's so much more stuff, but beneath the apex of everything, it's like it's so much more than that, and especially for men who mature slower than women, right? So there's a responsibility for us to not hunt as hard. I know that sounds crazy, but
nah, you're right, man. You're definitely right.
Because it could hurt us. That's how guys get friend zoned. That's how guys get all this other stuff, and you can avoid this stuff with a conversation where you can make better moves.
Yeah, because I've been friend zoned plenty of times, and for the reason that you just said, because it's like, I'll tell you, man. And like, I mean, and I don't want to keep blaming the school system for it, because like I was just saying this to my boy a couple of days ago, like we spend more hours at school than we do at home. Like our responsibility, or the teacher is more responsible for us than our parents. So it's like I don't know, some schools have sex education, but like our parents don't really, because our parents work 8 hours a day. So when we get home, we got to do our homework. So our parents don't have time to sit and ask like, okay, like, if you're going to start having sex, like 9 times out of 10, we're learning sex from our friends, like, at school, like
the wrong people who have no experience, but the people that made you, who definitely practicing it, don't say nothing about it.
Like, yeah, like you got friends at school, they talking more than they know. I'm like, dude, like you're 15. Like,
man, listen, there's people out there engaging in adult activities younger than that.
Yeah.
But
crazy,
the problem, what life has taught me, and not to belittle those people, what life has taught me, you burn out at a certain time in your life. You burn out with all the souls and stuff you collected at such an early age.
That's true.
But that's a whole nother conversation.
I mean, you're right.
But parents, I think this one is on you, parents, guardians, godparents, uncles, aunts. Somebody got to be the unapologetic one. He need to know. Shoot, he need to know. You don't talk to him like that. He need to know.
Yeah.
Should there be a basic training program amongst men, a level of education, skill traits given to all Black people and communities? What I mean by that is, in our communities, whether impoverished or not, we just talked about things that we had to live through to learn. I feel there should be something that's mandatory within that helps us have financial literacy, communication, how to change a tie, how to wear a nice suit, whatever color it may be, gardening, general wealth building, stock camps, talking about stock, real estate, sitting down, talking with the elderly. Like, I think these things should be mandatory in all our communities, especially Black communities, because we need to up our average. We need to up our game in terms of like knowledge and understanding with communication and financial literacy. Outside of education, outside of church, outside of the Boys and Girls Club, I'm talking parents or mentors, people coming into these communities and This is an everyday thing. This is we galvanize our kids' minds to say, yo, Reebok just stock went up $1. And that's their conversation at 12, 13 years old. They're excited about stock. They're excited about how to change a tie. Do you think it should be like a military, like not maybe I say military, like a mandatory thing in our community? Because I feel like we have less and less of growth in those aspects.
I do feel like there needs to be some type of training. Like I said, man, especially with what has been going on in 2020, as you see a plethora of issues that has been against the Black community. You know, I feel like there needs to be an actual, like, attention needs to be brought to the surface about, look, this is why it's important for us to learn financial literacy. It's important for us to learn how to own. And sometimes it doesn't have to be about owning a business. It can just be about owning your own property, owning owning your own happiness, learning how to be, because us as Black people, we've given away our happiness to people that don't deserve it, to cultures that don't deserve it. Let's just be honest. Like, we've given it away. Hip hop, we've given it away. R&B, we've given it away. And those same people that we've given it to, they don't give us props for us giving it to them. Because it's always been, okay, just take it here, just take it. Instead of us owning it, we have allowed people to take it and
Country
own
music.
it.
We gave away country music, gave away rock.
Gave away rock. We gave away jazz. If you be honest, we gave away jazz. Now we're kind of starting to get it back, but it's hard because when you play a jazz record, what do people say? Oh, that's outdated. Jazz, we don't listen to jazz.
Or people don't want to pay for it. The value of it has diminished, which is absolute nonsense. Because I'm going to say this. If it wasn't for no jazz, we wouldn't have no hip hop. The way people hit themselves pockets and music and just different things. Though that basically, when you liken a person like homeboy out of Atlanta, I can't remember his name right now. He's on the record with T.I. if it ain't about the money. Young Thug, yeah. To me, when I hear him, a lot of people don't understand what he's saying, but his vocality sounds like a jazz musician, sax or horn, the way he just he's scatting when he's rapping, and it's a special, man. Now you may not agree with the content coming out of his mouth. That's up to you where you at in your walk, but the art of it is special.
Yeah, and we've given that away, man. It's like, that's why it's important that we learn, and also what I'm learning too is also important that we learn stick togetherness too, because we've kind of suffered in that area a little bit because of entertainment and it's not to make fun of reality TV in a way, but we have been influenced to feel like we always have to compete against each other, and as you see with sports, is always competing. I think one of my friends was saying, like, you always hear about Michael Jordan versus LeBron James, LeBron versus Kobe, but you never hear about Tom Brady versus versus Joe Montana, or you never hear about Tom Brady versus Aaron Rodgers. Like there's never a comparison with Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers ever. You never hear about those guys competing or talking about who's better than who. It's always, when it comes down to LeBron, Kobe, Kevin Durant, is always, oh, this guy's better than this guy. And then you having debates at the barbershop about us, right? Or,
one of the biggest memes that I always hated is the meme that says, what one of these have to go. And it'd be like all of our pioneers. They'll have like, we'll have like Prince, Michael Jackson, Stevie Wonder, one of them have to die and their music has never been heard before. I'm like, why do we got to do that? Like, why? Like,
you're not the only one.
I've never seen a meme that said Elvis, Bruce Springsteen, Sting, one of them have to die forever. It's like, no, they don't have those. They don't have that mentality. Like, no, they don't.
I'm glad you're not the only one that thinks that way, because I used to get so annoyed. Like, I got so annoyed when people would post that. I put no, keep all of them. I put it on everybody's post that they said that, one has to go. I'll be like, no, I like everybody. And they'd be like, that's not the question. I'm like, no, I like everybody. Because
Yeah.
I'm like, we got to stop canceling people out, like canceling people's hard work out, man. Like, especially when it comes down to our community, because you know how rare it is, like, for us to be successful. Like, I tell people all the time, like, we should have more than a short number of billionaires. Like, I feel like we have. I feel like we are the reason why, like, the country is like entertained, like why they want to get up in the morning. Like, look at LeBron, look at, like, people wake up in the morning, like right now, James Harden, he's been the topic of discussion right now. Like, but he's bringing attention to the NBA. Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, you're bringing attention to the NBA, like our own people, even with TV, like we're bringing attention to, and we just can't keep giving it away and just saying, well, just take it. We just take it. Like you said, financial literacy. Like,
Yeah, we have to have a level of education of business and paperwork. We have to learn how to fight our battles with paperwork and not physical. And in many ways, other cultures know that we have the temperament to react physically instead of react on paper.
Man,
to fill out grievances, to fill out paperwork, and continuously fill out paperwork and hire lawyers. We're the most needed lawyer on deck people when most of us don't have retainers, because honestly we can't afford it. But if we started to socialize ourselves and communionize ourselves to where we said we're going to know that we're all going to teach traffic law stops, so everybody knows the law. We're going to have sample pullovers with our kids. Like when they get pulled over, we're going to have somebody play an aggressive cop. We're going to have somebody play the lenient cop. We're going to have somebody play all of those roles. We're going to just do all these different exhibitions because that's what it takes. I mean, that's what it takes. That's the game. That's what we need to be ready for. We can't just keep saying, oh, they'll be fine when we go out there. We'll just pray for them. It's not enough. It's not.
Yeah.
And
you,
yeah. Go ahead, please.
You're right. And you know what? I'm inspired by what you said, because that's why I went to college. I went to school. It wasn't just because I was contemplating if I should major in music performance, if I should major in business. And I thought business was the best route to go, because like you said, like we have to prepare ourselves for more than just, what we feel, like I said, looks nice, what we think is cool. Like we got to prepare ourselves because, it's like we need more Black judges. We need more, Black cops. We need more Black owners. Like right now, it's a blessing, like what's going on right now in Atlanta. Like, because majority of the people that are running, running America right now, they're all HBCU graduates. Kamala Harris, HBCU. Like, you know how much of a dream that is? Like, college basketball players are deciding to play at HBCUs. Like, is motivation for us. And for me, I had to learn that, like, I don't want to just be a musician. Like, I want to learn law. Like, I want to learn copyright infringement. I want to learn master recording, publishing business. Like, as a musician, they're not going to teach you that because they feel like, no, your job is just to entertain. We're just going to throw you $1 million and you just play. No, I want to be involved in the revenue streams. Right. So that's why business was important. That's why I love reading books on law. I love reading books on, copyright, and I love reading books on publishing and copyright and, master recording. And, I love reading books on stuff that has nothing to do with performing. Because a lot of people think the music business is so boring, but that's what's controlling everything. Like what's going on right now, everybody's selling their catalogs. But who is it being sold to? The business mind. It's not being sold to the musicians.
Right.
The businesses are making more money, like times 10 in the next 5 years, because they understand
cryptocurrency. They see what everything is going online. And just to reverse back to what we were just talking about, even with everything you just said, it's just a different mindset. If you're a man who works for a corporation of Black culture, you put a suit on, you drive to go to your meeting, right? Other cultures don't have to worry about that drive. Other cultures don't have to worry about when they step out the door. It's just a different life-learned lessons of understanding that you're literally still behind enemy lines on a lot of people's mind. D.L. Hughley said it best: the worst place a Black man can exist is in a white person's mind. It's the worst place.
That's true.
It's the worst place.
That's so facts.
Let's turn it up a little bit. Let's talk relationships, shall we?
Let's go.
I want to poll you real quick. I spoke to
Okay.
several women about this topic, and they claim that men never have this in their criteria. Sir, Mr. Deryck, I would like you to name the top 3 things you want in a woman. And if you get this right, I will praise you. But I'm willing to bet you do not have what? The one thing that most men do not say in this topic. Give me your top 3, sir.
And the pressure.
Yeah.
Supportive. That's. I'm just saying for me, supportive is.
Yeah, say for you. There's no wrong answer.
There's a wrong answer. Okay.
There's no wrong answer. Here's the thing. There's no wrong answer, but there's a fact that they're trying to say that this is never said, and vice versa. Men or women never say this in their top 3, but I'm giving people a chance to prove the whole thing wrong. But let's see. It's not wrong. It's just I'm just gonna tell you what it is, and you're gonna say, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, mine is supportive, and I've been learning the love language thing. So for me, affectionate, supportive, and I'm trying to figure out what the third one is. I would say spiritual, but yeah, spiritual, supportive, and affectionate. I might say
spiritual, supportive, and affectionate. Those are great. Basically, everybody's gonna say God-fearing to a certain extent. So that's spiritual, right? You're gonna cancel that out. Everybody, right? The biggest thing that people that I evaluated when I'm talking to women and men is that no one says intelligence.
Intelligence, yeah. Actually, yeah. That I should have. When I'm in spiritual, I should have put intelligence there. Yeah, I should have put that there.
Listen, no one says intelligence ever. Like it's like I want them to be smart, intelligence, and that's what you need in this world.
That's true. I'm so mad I didn't say intelligent because that's so true.
Don't get mad. We're learning from each other to upgrade this conversation. I challenge you to go to your parents, go to a friend and say, hey man, what are the top 3 things you want? I want you to prove me wrong. You can DM me and let me know, but nobody's gonna say intelligence.
Yeah, I got an older girlfriend because of intelligence. She's older than me. But it's because it's not like, because I guess, I don't know. I think, like I said, we're so visual. Yeah. Us men, we're visual. I mean, me personally, I'm very visual. So everything is like, well, she don't look that nice. So, and then you're over analyzing instead of saying no, she's smart, she's supportive, she can help you, she can help you raise a family, and I'm understanding about family, you do have to be intelligent, you have to be smart.
Yeah.
You can't
to make a family, you ain't got to be smart, but to secure an empire, you might want to have a plan or 2 or a vision, like you always say.
Yeah. So you're definitely right.
We talk about leaving a legacy, but we ignore major steps. Now I know you're not an old man. I know you're not a young man. I know you're you're creeping up a little bit, but do you have a will?
Do I have a will? Because I'm not, I don't speak deaf early into my life. I do not have a will, but I do know the older I get, I'm gonna have one.
See, let's talk about that. That's the whole point of this question. Why do you think Black people are so afraid to talk about will? Is it because of the deaf topic?
Yeah, I think because of the deaf topic. I mean, that's just me, but I do feel like because of the deaf topic, that's why we don't want to have one set up. But then some people are different. Some people just, like you said earlier, not intelligent, don't have the smarts, because eventually you have to prepare just in case if something does.
To it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, just in case you have to prepare. You have to know, okay, look, if I'm married, I have to make sure I put down in a will, my wife gets this. Or if I have 2 kids, I have to make sure I put down, this goes to my kids. Eventually, if something happens, like insurance, at some point,
exactly,
it's important that
listen. I challenge everybody. Mr. Cameron Wesley came on this show. He said he challenges people to look at death as an investment. It's not death as in it's all over. It's an investment. And what I believe he meant by that is you have the right insurances, you have something called PODs at the bank where your money can transfer right away. You don't have to go through probate court for all your belongings. It's a courtesy. It's like a courtesy flush for all the dumps you took in life. So everybody doesn't have to go back and clean up your entire latrine. You just want to have things in order. Now, most people say I have nothing to leave behind. People don't know. You don't know what you really have because other people look at you differently than what you look at yourself. And hopefully everyone will start to look at themselves as great and understand they have plenty to leave behind, plenty of information. And let's just have our paperwork in order. Like I said, it's a business to have the right investments. He talked about taking out insurance policies on his parents. And he said a lot of Black people get offended and feel disrespected for having insurance policies. But he said his other cultural friends who are millionaires or people who make money look at it as an investment in order to take care of the family's lineage, take care of the funeral, so you won't have a GoFundMe. So you won't have these things popping up on the family where everything is taken care of.
That's true. That's true. I mean, but then, like you said, like it kind of goes back to the training part. Us training, you know, like we just have to train ourselves. Like, look, like this is why you need to have life insurance policy, and have things already in place. You know, so just in case if something does happen, then
I look at it as I think the will should be looked at as a will to live, as a contract with yourself, saying I'm going to add to this.
Yeah,
I think because we're a culture who is threatened all the time with so many times of death, we don't even want to discuss it when it's not around us. Nobody wants to bring that in their home. So every time you step out your home, you're fighting for your life.
Yeah.
And in some cases, Breonna Taylor, the young lady from Dallas, you're in your home, minding your own business.
Right.
So the topic of death and talking it, I do understand.
Yeah, that's probably been a difficult part. And the funny thing is, I think because, you know, us as Black people, man, we've been taught to live to survive day by day. As you see, like you said, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, and even just in our communities, it's like we have the mindset of living to survive, survival mode. Like you never know what's gonna happen. And it's not just with us, it's with cops, it's with anybody. So it's like, you know, we just don't have that mental capacity to say, you know what, I should just prepare just in case something happens. It's like, for me, you know, I think because, and like you said, you do have a lot of value, more than what you think you have. Like me as a musician, I know when I get older, I know eventually, I'm going to write a will. Because the more music I put out, 20 years down the line, is going to be worth more than what it was when I first put it out. Right. As I'm learning about catalog, like catalogs are worth way more when the person is dead. Like when they're not here, catalog goes up, it skyrockets. Like Bob Dylan's catalog, when like that's going to be worth so much money in the next 25 years. Michael Jackson's catalog is worth a lot of money, you know, after he passed away. Kobe's jersey or autograph, whatever, is worth a lot of money after he passed. So like you said, like value, you be surprised how much you're really worth. You don't even know it, but when, you know, once you're dead and gone, you realize,
and once you get in that mode where you're operating at your purpose, where you actually find who you are early, because we've all working together to talk and build each other up earlier, we'll find more purpose in a will, and we'll find that it's not a death sentence, but it's a contract willing to will yourself to living.
That's true.
Now let's play a little marriage games. Well, I know you're not married, but I like to ask this question to all men, and there's no wrong answer once again, but it's one of those questions. I would love to hear where you're at with it, and I would like you to explain your answer when you answer. Is that okay, sir?
That's fine.
D.Rim, are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
As a husband, would you rather have a great woman or a great wife?
Yo, great wife.
Break it down for me, man.
I mean, a great woman. It's a lot of great women out here, but a great wife, that's just yours. Great wife is everything all in one. So, great wife for sure.
Okay, and listen, hey, listen. There's no wrong answer. I love to hear people's analogies of what they feel will drive them. And men choose women, and men choose wife. And I just love to hear their answers. But validation from your partner, it's like you win a championship when you meet the right woman.
Okay.
D.Rim, do you defend the title? And what I mean by that is, are you sending a little text saying, hey, how you doing? How's your day? Are you doing the things that she likes that you know makes her feel special? Are you competing with the earlier versions of yourself to be the better version you are today? Are you defending the title?
Yes, of course. Because like I was saying earlier, I've been building my way out of insecurity, but sometimes when you're insecure, it will kind of teach you how to keep defending something that you already have. So that's kind of the blessing in being a little bit insecure, but not, I learned that from Mike Tyson. He used to always say, the insecure people are the most powerful ones. Because if you have that insecurity, then you are always trying to find a way to keep it, even though you already have it. And for me, I will always be that guy that will always put in effort. And then I'm very spontaneous. So I will always, I love surprises. I mean, I love surprising my woman. Like I would just do it just because it's just a habit of mine.
Sir, well, make sure you keep it up. Even the moments where you don't love each other, you still like each other. Make sure you keep up the surprises because she expects it from you not to drop the ball in that regard.
Yeah, exactly.
Defend the title, man. You don't want nobody else coming to try to steal your chip from you. Take your trophy away.
You know what I mean? People are out here in the world that are like, it's risky because it's like, I'm at home, but somebody might show up at work and you might be attracted to somebody on, at the bar, or you might be with your girlfriends and, you might accidentally dance with somebody and you like, wait, I'm married. Like, so you gotta make sure that you keep it going.
You gotta remember it's good over here. Don't mess it up.
Of course. Exactly.
One more question, man. Well, not like a question. I came up with something called operating at 100%. And what I mean by that is I came up with this ratio where it's 5 categories worth 20% each, broken down. And every day you add these percentages up to give yourself an average at the end of the week to let us know, or let yourself know, that you're working towards your purpose. The 5 categories are purpose, health, confidence, money, and knowledge. 20% each. Purpose means you're working in your purpose every day, doing the things that you need to do, your calling. Health means you're meditating, you're praying, you're eating right, working out, mental health. Confidence means you're not intimidated. You're doing things out of not being insecure. You're working your insecurities great. Money is that you made a little money today, invest a little money, or, you balance to pay some bills. Knowledge, you learned something. You took in some information. How much information depends on you. Now, out of the last 24 hours, Mr. D.Rim, purpose, health, confidence, money, and knowledge. Out of all of those percentages add up to, which equals 100, how much percentage do you think you have today within the last 24 hours?
Percentage with each one or overall?
Yeah, each one. Overall. Give us an overall.
Purpose, man, it went to like about 85. But I do know purpose,
Well, here's the thing. Purpose is only worth 20%. So out of 20, each one is 20.
Each one is 20. Got you. I'll probably say 10 with purpose because I'm starting to really understand what my purpose is. And that's just to put smiles on people's faces and make sure that they are the best version of themselves and do what makes them happy. Outside of me doing music, that's the whole bottom line. So I have discovered what my purpose is. I just say 10% because I don't know what else down the line is going to happen, how that's going to take me, because I never thought that I'll be a producer. So I'm trying to see what exactly my purpose is going to take me next.
It's always I'll say 10. Growth. Absolutely.
Exactly. So 10% with that. Health. Yeah, health is 10 too, because I'm 28 years old And I'm starting to work on, I know health is more than just food. Health is what you watch, what you read.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm saying, I'll probably say 14% in health. I'll leave the 6% to eventually I'm gonna change my diet a little bit. I'm doing college student vibes right now.
College student, but ain't nothing wrong with that. Confidence.
Yeah. Confidence, man, I would say 16%. 4% of it, I still have a little bit of, I'm a humbled guy, but a little bit too humbled sometimes, to the point that it can kind of keep me away from some opportunities, like the friend zone conversation we was having earlier.
Hey, listen, I know all about the friend zone, man. I majored in it. If there was a college for it, okay?
Yeah, I made a song called Friend Zone just because of it. It was that bad.
Man, go check out the song Friend Zone by D.Rim, okay? Listen to it. We're gonna talk money, but I don't know how much money you made or got, but I want to talk financial literacy. Did you do some good financial literacy within and out of 20%?
I would say in 2020 it's at 18. And I'm saying that because I learned it's an artist named Russ, and he talked about pandemic proof. And he was saying how it's a lot of artists that made a lot more money in COVID than they did before COVID. And I didn't understand it till, he was teaching artists, like, when you're independent, it's about putting out consistent content and learning how to monetize. So I've learned how to monetize a lot more than I've learned how to invest in stock. Like I've invested into stock in 2020. Like I didn't even know about stocks until I started doing research on it. So I learned about stock market. I learned about ownership. I learned about, LLC, and I've just started LLC with my vision over since, getting merch done and building my website and making money from selling my music and engineering. Like, never thought that would be possible. I've done more shows. I've traveled more in COVID than I have in any other year.
And the crazy thing about it, what all that is, nothing will ever put me on a corner to sell no drugs if I knew about the stock market. Ever.
Yeah.
If it's just nothing with, I'm not saying I sold drugs. I'm just saying in general, coming from the hood where I come from, people think that's the first place more often than not that you run to be successful. If we knew about the stock market, if we wasn't taking so many jump shots, running with so many footballs, it's just different.
It's different, man.
We want the people. I want to see my homies shoot a basketball, run with a football, and wrestle and do whatever and play chess. But I also want the homie that's like, yo, Amazon just came out, something called Amazon. This stock just came out. We should all look at it and, go pack groceries or something craziness like back in the day to get the money to buy some stock, because it's going to be big when we 10 years from now. Like, I want that homie too.
That's true, because as I'm learning, entertainment is temporary. It does not last forever. Like me, as much as I love music, I know I cannot produce forever. I cannot record forever. I might want to dive into just forever money. Like you were talking about earlier about the Will thing, like forever money. Like, the best money is when you're not working. When you're, me learning that about not working to get money. Like,
well, let me say this, and let me throw back at you what you said earlier. Your dad said when you were little, you were a dad, and then when you grew, he became your father, and then when you became an adult, became a mentor. Attribute that to the music business. You give birth to your things, you take over it, you father it, and then you mentor at the end. The mentoring part is the next generation of people who want to learn from you, because you're a walking library, to try to maneuver through the manure that they're in. So you take them through it faster. So what your dad said was very profound about being a dad, father, and a mentor. I think that's the same thing with the music business. You have this, like Jay-Z said, you have this white hot space that most people can't operate in for too long. And then you move on. Not to say that you're not hot and it's still important, but it's a white hot space. And I think that white hot space is when you're a father, when you're in the fatherhood mode. And then when you get in the mentor mode, you watch this other person in the white hot space. I believe your task is to teach them how to be there longer or handle the paperwork better because you went through it. So tribute to your dad. And the fifth thing, knowledge, sir.
Knowledge. I would say that's 19 and a half. And I'm saying half because there's always more to learn. But knowledge is at 19% because, like I said, we're in a pandemic, but it's crazy how much knowledge I've gained. Because some people are not going to agree because people say the pandemic is been horrifying and it's been stressful, but the pandemic for me was a blessing because I've done so much research and it taught me how to sit and reflect and calm down and actually read more, observe a lot more, study more, because when before pandemic, it's like we were always on the go. Like we didn't have time to just sit and think and read and just relax at the house. Right. Now it's like we got more time to be on our phone and look up research and read books and look at YouTube tutorials. Like I've seen more people start businesses now than ever. And because of the knowledge that has been given to us, so I would say that's been at a 19% for sure.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. You are now a part of the Silhouette Boys Club. It is people like you who move in the shadows to help people like me shine. Now, D.Rim, before you go, we like to get referrals on the show. We like to ask our guests to refer someone else you think can come on the show and drop those gems like you did today to better the conversation in manhood. Do you have anyone today?
I have a few people, but you said I got to pick one.
Well, we take all requests. We take all referrals.
Take all requests. I got to get the girl's name. Wait, have they say her full name or?
No. It has to be a man. We talking manhood.
No. Oh, manhood.
Listen, hold on, D. We got a female version of the show called Solutions for Her, where the women talk. But then right here, Solutions for Men is where the men talk.
Okay, got you. So for right now, I would say you need to get in touch with Dorian from Group 82 Music. That's the guy that I've been paying attention to a lot. Like all of my videos and meme pages, I've been watching his stuff, his content a lot. I would say you need to get in touch with him.
We're gonna get in touch with Dorian, and we're gonna see if Dorian will come on the show. Now you gotta also reach out to Dorian for us to let him know that we are on our way.
I sure will let him know. Like he actually did my logo for my business, so I'm actually gonna hit him up today.
Hit him up today and let him know. Before you go, we need some social media shout outs where we can find you, listen to your music, support your entertainment business, support that merch, all the things you got going on. Drop it on us right now.
Deryck Rimson, Deryck Rimson, Rimson. That's on my social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Deryck D.Rim Rimson, YouTube, Deryck Rimson Music. My website, of course. You guys, make sure you guys go to my website, www.deryckrimson.com. EP is out right now. I got a new single out right now called Let Me Show You. New music video dropping. I have new merchandise coming out February 2021. That's also in a couple weeks. I'm dropping masks and hats, and also Vision Over Sense merch is coming out soon. So make sure you guys check me out, man. And once again, man, I'd like to thank you, man, for having me on the show.
It was great.
I want people to know, man, I'm really happy for you, man. Because
thanks.
No, for real, black brother to black brother, man. This is not easy to do, but I love how you're doing your thing, man. And it's amazing what you're doing, man. So keep at it, man. I'm happy for you.
Hey, man, I appreciate it, man. 1000%. Like I said, these shows will be running out for those who listening. He said February, so we'll definitely have this show on in February in full detail. So we hope that you listen. We hope you listen in 10 years from now, basically. So let's keep it real. And I got an end quote here from Miles Monroe. I like to start initiating and saying at the end of the show. Quoted by Miles Monroe. He said, "True success is not measured by how much you have or done. It's accomplished or compared to others. Have done or accomplished. True success is what you have done compared to what you could have done. In other words, living in the maximum is competing with yourself. It's living up to your own true standards and capabilities. Success is satisfying your own personal passion and purpose in pursuit of personal excellence." Question of the day, question of your life. Are you maximizing your life? This, everybody, D.Rim, I appreciate you coming on today. I know I could have read that end quote better, but we're going to get better as we go along.
Now you good, man.
This is Solutions.